The Blue Jays could use an upgrade in the rotation, and I think it would be absolutely amazing if they could pull off something for Mackenzie Gore. Now, the Blue Jays could use a few things for the rotation, including more velo, swing and miss, and less home runs allowed. They rank near the bottom when it comes to home runs allowed this year. Now, with Gore, he brings all of that to the table, and he would give the Blue Jays an extremely good 1-2-3 alongside Kevin Gausman and Jose Barrios, with Chris Bassett, Max Scherzer, and Eric Lauer taking care of the rest. Now, the question is, how far would the Blue Jays be willing to go, and would they even be able to afford Mackenzie Gore? Well, here's the trade that I have. Going to the Blue Jays would be Gore, and back to the Nationals would be the Blue Jays' two top 100 prospects, Arjun Nimmala and Treya Savage, their number 5 prospect, Cal Steven, who's pitching great in the minor leagues this year, and their number 7 prospect, Alan Roden, who has a solid bat. For someone like Gore, though, especially at this time of the year, it may even take one more, so maybe someone like the number 4 prospect, Johnny King, who is far away, but he's pitching great this year with a good fastball and curveball combo, or the number 11 prospect, Kendry Rojas, who is close to Major League ready and has a pretty balanced profile. For the Red Sox, I would love a trade for either Sandy Alcantara or Shane Bieber. Now, I would love a trade for SuarezKelly as well, a solid veteran guy to put in the rotation behind Garrett Crochet to help you compete for the postseason. Now, he is a rental, which I don't mind, but I do see the benefits of a trade for either Alcantara or Bieber as well. Now, you might be thinking, Robbie, you want the Red Sox to get another pitcher who got Tommy John? Well, in this case, I think there's positives for both the present and the future. Now, with Bieber, he's on a rehab assignment right now, so he's going to be coming back soon, and he's going to be fresh for the rest of the season, kind of like what we saw last year with Matthew Boyd for the Guardians. Another thing to think about as well is that Bieber was very close to signing with the Red Sox this past offseason, so perhaps a 2-month stint could help entice him to exercise his player option to stick around in Boston or work out a new extension. As for what a trade would look like, well, it would cost you something, but it's going to be nowhere near the price of Joe Ryan, since Bieber is just a rental coming off Tommy John. Now, the price would be pretty low if the Red Sox took on the remainder of his contract, but if Cleveland ended up paying the rest of his salary, then you'd probably get back a couple of mid to lower tier prospects. The trade that I think could work is Shane Bieber and the rest of his salary going back to the Red Sox and going back to the Guardians would be the Red Sox number 24 prospect, Blaze Jordan, who's having a solid season with the bat, but he's blocked in Boston and he's approaching Rule 5 eligibility, and he could be an option at first base or DH in the near future in Cleveland. And I also have the Red Sox lefty pitching prospect Hayden Mullins, who's ranked number 18 in the Red Sox top 30 on MLB Pipeline and has a 2.45 ERA at AA this year. Now, as for Sandy, the Marlins will definitely ask for more despite his down year, but he has looked better as of late, and I think the Red Sox would really value the couple more years of club control and try to get him back on track. So for this trade, I have a couple of options here. Sandy going to the Red Sox and back to Miami would be the Red Sox number 2 prospect on MLB Pipeline and number 7 on Baseball America. The password, Yostinson Garcia, who is a top 100 prospect that would bring a close to Major League ready high upside bat to Miami. And I also have the Red Sox number 17 and 18 prospects, who I mentioned earlier, Jordan and Mullins. Now, if the Marlins wanted a high upside arm in return, then perhaps the Red Sox number 4 prospect, left-hander Brandon Clark, who's got excellent velo and stuff, along with a couple of high upside bats, in the Red Sox number 13 prospect, Miguel Blaze, and the number 17 again in Blaze Jordan. On to the Cubs, and I would love for them to pull off a blockbuster trade for Joe Ryan. Now, the Cubs look great this year with one of the top offenses in all of baseball, but I think they could use a bit of an upgrade in the rotation. Now, the Cubs only rank 25th in strikeouts per 9 with their starting pitching, and I think they could use a formidable righty between Shota Imanaga and Matthew Boyd. Now, with Joe Ryan, a righty, has been one of the best pitchers in baseball this year with over 10 strikeouts per 9. Now, with Ryan, he would be very expensive because he's very good, and he's in his cheaper arbitration years with over 2 more years of club control. But with the Cubs, they have solid young prospects they could send back to Minnesota to help them retool for next season and beyond. The trade that I think would make sense would be Joe Ryan going to the Cubs and back to the Twins would be righty Ben Brown, one of their former top pitching prospects, and their current top pitching prospect, righty Jackson Wiggins. The most valuable pieces here, though, would be their top 2 prospects in their top 30 on Baseball America, both top 100 prospects, Owen Casey and Moises Ballesteros. Now, with Casey, he's getting very close to Major League ready with very good power upside, and catcher Moises Ballesteros is a very good bat with a 60 hit tool, but also possibly a long-term option for the Twins at catcher. I would love for the Brewers to acquire Ryan O'Hearn. Now, the Brewers have emerged as one of the best teams in baseball this year, but I think they could use a bit more pop in the lineup since they only ranked 14th in WRC+, 19th in OPS, and 24th in home runs. Now, don't get me wrong, I would love for the Brewers to make a splash and get Eugenio Suarez, who has close to 40 home runs, but it's not usually like the Brewers to make a giant splash for a rental, so O'Hearn to me feels a bit more realistic. Now, the trade that I think would make sense is one that would send back some young pitching to the Orioles, which they could definitely use more of in the organization. So in this trade, I have O'Hearn going to Milwaukee, and back to Baltimore, I have the number 13 prospect, right-hander Bryce Message, who is further away right now, but he has good velo and breaking stuff, along with the number 18 prospect, right-hander Craig Yoho, who has a very good slider and a 70-grade changeup and could be a future closer. Before we get to the rest of the trades, I got to shout out our partner for this video, Manta, for helping me sleep even through all of your grumpy comments saying how bad these trades are. Now, this mask, it's been helping me get some great sleep because it's blocking out all of the early sunrise in the morning and helping me get some solid naps throughout the day. It's extremely comfortable, especially for side sleepers like myself. And then we got the white noise machine, which pumps out mellow and relaxing sounds to help me wind down at night, while also blocking out noise to help me sleep uninterrupted. And I can control it with this really convenient remote control. Now, with this mask and the white noise machine, I can say without a doubt that I've been getting some of the best sleep of my life, which is huge for me, especially during a busy time of the year like right now with the trade deadline, and helping me recover between workouts at the gym. So if you're looking to up your sleep game, head down to the description below, click on the link, use the code HYDE, and get 10% off. Speaking of Eugenio Suarez, I think the Tigers need to get this done, and I would love for them to pull off a package for both Suarez and SuarezKelly. Now, after having one of the best offenses in the game this year, they've really struggled this past month, and they could definitely use a bit of a boost. They could put Suarez at third base, while Javier Baez and Zach McKinstry can take care of shortstop and center field. Now, they just added Chris Paddock this week, but I don't think it's crazy to bolster the rotation even more with SuarezKelly, who would go alongside Tarek Skubal and Jack Flaherty to give them a very good 1-2-3 for the postseason. SuarezKelly is a proven postseason performer, a solid veteran, putting up solid numbers this year, an ERA at 3.22 and a FIP at 3.54. Now, of the D-backs, it seems like they're setting a high price for Suarez because of the high interest in him, and this market is just going crazy, but I think the Tigers are a good trade partner here because they do have some young pitching they could send back to Arizona, which the D-backs could use in their organization, even if Kelly is included. So in this trade, I have Suarez and Kelly heading to Detroit, and back to Arizona, I have the number 7 prospect, righty Jaden Ham, who has good velo with a 4-pitch mix, and the number 16 prospect, Joseph Montavo, who has a 3-pitch mix with a very good slider. But the kicker in this deal, though, is Jace Young, the Tigers' first-round pick from 2022, but he hasn't fully been able to find his way in Detroit, and he's lacking a home defensively because of his poor defense. Now, with the D-backs, they are set in the infield long-term with Ketel Marte, Geraldo Perdomo, and Jordan Lawler, one of the top prospects in baseball, but Jace Young's bat has a ton of upside, so maybe they could find a long-term home for him at either first base or DH. Now, of course, because of the market, I could see the D-backs pushing for more, whether that's another prospect on top of this, like the number 15, Josh Randall, or maybe even Troy Melton instead of Jaden Ham, who's been pitching out of the Tigers' bullpen after a great year in the minors. The Mets, I think, would be a great home for Dylan Cease. Now, before you jump all over the 4.79 ERA, he's got a 3.64 on the FIP, and he brings a lot of swing and miss to the table, something I think that would be a nice lift for the Mets, along with his durability. Now, as of right now, when it comes to the swing and miss, the Mets only rank 17th in strikeouts per 9, while Cease ranks number 1 in all of Major League Baseball. And I also think it would be a nice lift for the rotation, which does have Clay Holmes already at a career high in innings, along with guys like Kadai Senga, Sean Manaea, and Frankie Montas dealing with injuries this year. Now, when it comes to what a trade would look like, the Padres have no intention of waving the white flag, and they want to add a bat. Now, the Mets do have a few bats that maybe they would be willing to part with, especially if they brought in someone like Luis Robert in a separate trade to play center field, and Jeff McNeil can go back to second base. Perhaps the Mets could offer Mark Vientos straight up, who has struggled this year, but he can share first first base and DH duties in San Diego. When it comes to David Stearns, though, I wonder if he would actually pull the trigger on sending a major league ready player with multiple years of control for a rental in Dylan Cease, but in the end, I would love if the Mets could pull this off somehow. But getting back to Luis Robert, though, I would also love that for the Mets, and maybe you could do some kind of a deal where Robert and some cash could go to the Mets and back to the White Sox. Maybe they could send back Mark Vientos or another of the younger bats. For the Dodgers, I would love them to pull off a deal for Steven Quan. Now, they've been scuffling as of late, and they rank in the bottom 10 in offense over the last 30 days, and I think Steven Quan would be a great fit here. Now, they do have Michael Conforto, and despite hitting well lately, he does have a negative F4 on the year, and Quan would definitely be an upgrade here for the Dodgers. He would shore up a few of the negatives that are going on with the Dodgers, like whiff percentage, where they have the 8th highest so far in Major League Baseball, and contact percentage, where they only rank 25th in all of baseball, while Quan ranks near the top in both those categories. Quan would be expensive, though, because he is a very good player, and he's under control for a couple more years, but with the Dodgers and their good farm system, I think they'd be able to afford it, but they also have one other guy that could make up a lot of the value, and that's Dalton Rushing. He's a high upside catcher with a good bat, but he's blocked in LA right now behind Will Smith and Freddie Freeman, and he would be a huge upgrade at catcher for Cleveland, where they only rank 26th in offense when it comes to the position. Now, with Rushing, he has been picking up a lot of the slack behind Will Smith, but would the Dodgers rather use his value to land someone like Steven Quan? And last but not least, for the Phillies, I think they could use a boost in the bullpen, and I think Yohan Duran makes a ton of sense here. Now, Duran would give them a bona fide closer, and he would shore up a couple of things with the Phillies bullpen, including velo, where they only rank 22nd overall, and home runs allowed, where Philly only ranks 27th, while Duran has only given up 1 home run on the year. He's going to be expensive, though, since he is one of the top closers in the game with over 2 more years of club control, but I could see Dave Dombrowski getting aggressive here to try and help the Phillies go for a World Series this year. In this trade, I have the Phillies sending back a couple of their higher ranked prospects in their number 5, Escobar, who has a good hit tool, and their number 8 outfielder, Griffin Burkholder, who's very athletic with power upside. Now, the big chip here is Mick Abel, their current number 6 prospect, but he's finally found his way this year after many up and down seasons, and he could be in the Twins rotation right away. However, I do think the Twins would push for more here, like Andrew Painter, one of the top pitching prospects in the game, but there's no way they should give him up for a closer. Maybe instead they can compromise on, say, Justin Crawford. I don't know if the Twins would want him, but whatever it is, I think the Phillies need to find a way to get this done. But everybody, those are my thoughts. Those are the trades that I want to see. Are any of them going to happen? Probably not, but I would love to see them. Everyone, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Let me know some trades that you would like to see. Tell me some trades that you think we're going to see. But everybody, that's all I got for right now. If you can on the way out, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.